Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bolo. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Gaur Pimanandi. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Chiraboy Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Danitai Gaura Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurinviritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sham Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Ditam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu vyaevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Narayanam namaskritya Dharam chaiva narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Uttama Shloke Charitam
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Nishreya Sayalokasya
Nishasaya Lokasya
Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat.
Dhanyam Swasthayanam Maha.
This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Sridham Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Advaita Gadadhar
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Our morning yoga exercise. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Sarabhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyay Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vachalam pagam langayate girim yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. Continuing, Canto number 1, chapter 18. Parikshit Maharaj, cursed by a Brahmana boy. 33. Tasya. Oh, I'm sorry. Aho. Yes. Aho.
Aho.
Adharma.
Adharma.
Palanam.
Palanam.
Tivnam.
Tirnam.
Vali.
Vali.
Bhujam.
Bhujam.
Eva.
Eva.
Swamini.
Swamini.
Agham.
Agam.
Yad.
Yad.
Dasanam.
Dasanam.
Dvara.
Dvara.
Panam.
Panam.
Shunam.
Shunam.
Iva.
Iva.
Aho adharma palanam.
Aho dharma palanam.
Privnam bali bhujam iva.
Vivanam bali bhujam iva.
Swamini. Swaminyagam yad dasanam.
Swami agam dasanam.
Dvarapanam shunam iva.
Dvarapanam shunam iva.
Aho adharma palanam.
Aho adharma palanam.
Tivnam bali bhujam iva.
Vivanam bali bhujam iva.
Swamanyagam yad dasanam.
Swaminyagam yadidasanam.
Yeah, when there's two vowels together, we combine and they become swaminyagam. Swaminyagam, yeah. Swaminyagam. Okay, dvarapanam shunam iva.
Dvarapanam shunam iva.
Aho adharma palanam.
Aho adharma palanam.
Divnam bali bhujam iva.
Divanam bali bhujamiva.
Divnam. Divnam. There's no. Huh? Divnam. Divnam. Samanyagam yada. Swamanyagam yada sanam.
Swamiyam yadudasanam.
Dwarapanam shunam iva.
Dwarapanam sunamiva.
Bolo aho.
Aho dharma palanam.
Aho adharma palanam.
Divnam bali bhujam iva.
Divnam bali bhujam iva.
Samanyagam yadda dashanam.
Samanyagam yadasanam.
Varapanam shunamiva.
Dwarapanam shunamiva. Aho adharma palanam. Divnam bali bhujam iva. Samanyagam yadasanam. Dwarapanam shunam iva.
Aho adharma palanam.
Aho adharma palanam.
Pivanam bali bhujamiva.
Divanam bali bhujamiva.
Swaminyagam yaddasanam.
Samimyagam yadasanam.
Dwarapanam shunamiva.
Dwarapanam shunamiva.
Aho adharma palanam.
Aho adharma palanam. Divnam bali bhujam iva. Swaminyagam yadasanam. Dwarapanam shunamiva. Aho.
Aho.
Just look at
Just look at
adharma,
adharma.
irreligion,
Irreligion.
palanam,
Palanam.
of the rulers,
Of the rulers.
divnam,
Divanam.
of one who is brought up,
Of one who is brought up.
bali bhujam,
Bali bhujam.
like the crows,
Like the crows.
eva,
Eva.
like
Like
swamini,
Swamini.
unto the master,
Unto the master.
agham,
Agam.
sin,
Sin.
yet,
Yet.
what is,
What is.
dasanam,
Vasanam.
of the servants,
Of the servants.
Varapanam,
Dwarapanam.
keeping watch at the door,
Keeping watch at the door.
Shunam,
Sunam.
of the dogs,
Of the dog.
Eva,
Eva.
like.
Like.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Brahmana's son Shringi said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants." Kindly repeat after me. The Brahmana's son Shringi said,
The Brahmana's son Sringi said,
"Oh, just look at the sins
oh, just look at the sins
of the rulers who,
of the rulers who,
like crows and watchdogs
like crows and watchdogs,
at the door,
at the door,
perpetrate sins
perpetrate sins
against their masters,
against their masters,
contrary to the principles
contrary to the principles
governing servants."
governing servants.
Purport. The Brahmanas are considered to be the head and brains of the social body, and the Kshatriyas are considered to be the arms of the social body. The arms are required to protect the body from all harm, but the arms must act according to the directions of the head and brain. That is a natural arrangement made by the supreme order, for it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that four social orders or castes, namely the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, are set up according to quality and work done by them. Naturally, the son of a Brahmana has a good chance to become a Brahmana by the direction of his qualified father. As a son of a medical practitioner has a very good chance to become a qualified medical practitioner. So the caste system is quite scientific. The son must take advantage of the father's qualification and thus become a Brahmana or medical practitioner and not otherwise. Without being qualified, one cannot become a Brahmana or medical practitioner. And that is the verdict of all scriptures and social orders. Herein, Sringi, a qualified son of a great Brahmana, attained the required Brahminical power, both by birth and by training. But he was lacking in culture because he was an inexperienced boy. By the influence of Kali, the son of a Brahmana became puffed up with Brahminical power and thus wrongly compared Maharaj Parikshit to crows and watchdogs. The king is certainly the watchdog of the state in the sense that he keeps vigilant eyes over the border of the state for its protection and defense. But to address him as a watchdog is the sign of a less cultured boy. Thus, the downfall of the Brahminical powers began as they gave importance to birthright without culture. The downfall of the Brahmana caste began in the age of Kali. And since Brahmanas are the head of the social order, all other orders of society also began to deteriorate. This beginning of Brahminical deterioration was highly deplored by the father of Sringi, as we will find. Translation again. The Brahmana's son Sringi said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants." So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions how both by birth as well as training, one becomes qualified either as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya. And so training is therefore a very essential component in the Vedic culture. That training, Prabhupada makes reference also how when we give the necessary time to begin understanding the workings, how this whole system, social order, means the whole system of Varna and Ashrama, it is actually very very scientific system, which is meant to help society function in the best possible manner so that individuals can ultimately attain the professional stage of life, which is to become ultimately God conscious. The Brahmanas are, as mentioned here, the natural head of society. That means that everyone else within that social system is meant to be subordinate to Brahmanas, and and therefore this action taken by the son of the Brahmana, who is speaking very harsh words, which are a prelude to the curse he will actually be giving. In this particular case, was considered and is described as a misuse of his position or misuse of his Brahminical powers because of being immature. How does Prabhupada put it? Not being sufficiently cultured. Lack of culture. When there is a lack of culture, then all kinds of irregularities develop. So actually, although the system which is created by Krishna, the system of Varna and Asrama, where each member of that social body has specific duties and responsibilities, although it is a perfect system and a most scientific system, when there is deviation, then the whole thing can become completely chaotic. And this is described here in the purport. This particular incident, this is the beginning of the downfall of that system. whether it's a Brahmana or the son of a Brahmana who is misusing his position. Vice versa is also the case when a Kshatriya, King Venu, uh, is a prime example of a king who felt he was beyond the jurisdiction of the Brahmanas and stopped all kinds of yajnas and sacrifices. So the system is perfect and works uh, very wonderfully as long as individuals uh, play their role, isn't it? And just like Prabhupada also mentions, how spiritual life is actually wonderful, but if one is not cautious, Prabhupada compared it to a razor's edge. Yes, if one is not attentive in following or in applying that system, then it can um, it can be um, destructive in various different ways. And this, of course, is the major challenge when such a system, when such an ideal and perfect system is, we could say, broken, not functional, to bring it, to put it back together is a major challenge, which is part of what Srila Prabhupada expected and gave various, we could say, guidelines how to, because that question is often, different questions are raised, whether it's even possible. That's one of the questions, whether it's even possible to attempt to bring back a system which has been, we could say, non-functional for so many years. And especially for us who are practicing devotional service, that's a whole other dimension, is simply the practice of devotional service without that system. Is that not, that was one of the questions, is not simply sufficient to practice our devotional service and not be so much concerned with reestablishing the system. There are different versions also of, we were discussing before, four types, maybe there's more, 4 types of varnashrama systems. So how to sort out this matter of reestablishing the varnas and the ashramas is one of the questions. So whenever there are questions, there needs to be answers.
Social social conditions have to be right. We have to be prepared when the social conditions are right. And like all systems eventually come to an end, collapse. That's the history typically. So when the current system reaches its natural course of demise, at that time we should be ready to do it at a large scale.
All material systems
Yes.
come to a particular, it is um, it is also described, I think Prabhupada makes a reference how if we look at history, different empires have come, have developed, and but there seems to be a trend that empires mm, generally have a time which is connected with what you're mentioning here. They have a time lapse of approximately 200 years, 200 to 150 years, yes. Prabhupada quotes the Roman Empire, Greek Empire, the British Empire.
And the systems also change. Monarchy was replaced by, say, communism in some place, and communism collapsed, and capitalism will come to its natural end. So the philosophical systems also, apart from civilization, come to a natural demise.
So we are at that point where there's a need of changing the system, or the system has come to a point where it's
Days are numbered.
failing in. Huh?
Days are numbered.
Yes, yes. So how to even convince devotees, because so many devotees, as we know, are much less convinced of this whole, probably don't give it very much thought also of the need of a social system, specifically this social system which is being advocated in our Shastra. How to convince, because that seems to be one of the obstacles in re-establishing the system.
I think propaganda and just repeating the message, and when they experience some life event, they will have a realization at some point in time. We can continue to reinforce the message.
That's how modern propaganda.
Yes, activism.
Right. Yes. That is part of it. And what are other ways to convince?
Show a working model and even small scale.
Yes. Show prototypes or models. What are other factors? I would say purification of consciousness. It's like, we all read the same books. We're supposed to read the same books. We all hear the same instructions. Why some instructions are more meaningful to some and less meaningful to others? I mean, there are different factors. One of them definitely is the purification of consciousness. So mm, that is that is a basic principle also in terms of wanting to uh, become more uh, self-realized. Self-realization is based um, on purified consciousness. The more our consciousness is purified, we can make more progress spiritually. In a similar way, the more the consciousness is purified, the more we can understand various instructions um, that are presented in, in the Bhagavatam or by our acharyas. Yeah,
Question one.
yeah,
In the text, there are two analogies given, right? So one is comparison with the dogs, and other with crows. So dogs is easy to understand. Dogs are considered very loyal to their masters, but then there are incidences when they are very hungry or thirsty. They, attack or they revolt,
yes.
and it seems very pertinent.
Uh,
When it comes to crows, it's not very obvious. Crows are generally not known to be, maintained by masters to begin with,
right.
and how they commit an offense or sin against that master. That analogy is also
Mm,
not quite clear.
yeah. Generally, we hear the analogy of crows as um,
Eating all kind of
filthy,
filthy
dirty
things.
places. Um, well, uh, maybe there's a connection between crows and dead snakes. I don't know.
Yeah, could be
Uh,
eating all kind of
I mean,
things or taking interest. No discrimination, right? Like crows, they don't discriminate. They eat all kind of things. So maybe the king did not discriminate a garland of flowers versus a garland of snakes.
right, right, yeah, yeah, right. Um, yeah. Um,
Also, the Maharshal said that there should be culture, right? Like not only knowledge or power driven without culture.
culture.
Yeah, it can destroy. So I've also seen and experienced myself and devotees nowadays. Like we're we're meeting devotees, we're getting Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we're reading. Yes, we're chanting Hare Krishna, but we don't know Vedic culture, right? We grew up in a Western culture, so but we're reading the same books, but we don't know in the same time the culture. We don't know Vedic culture,
Right.
and when we have knowledge, like just theoretical knowledge, like Dhyana, yes, Srimad Bhagavatam,
Right.
Bhagavad Gita, and we don't have a culture and like in a consciousness, we're misusing this knowledge. Like, for example, in a relationship with other devotees, or this way, probably some devotees are practicing their own Krishna consciousness. Like you ask it why we're reading the same books,
Right.
but we're getting different results because we don't have a culture, we don't have a same culture. So it's like input is there, output is different
Right. Right.
because inside culture is different.
Right. But isn't it that Prabhupada in presenting the whole, we say the whole package of Krishna consciousness in terms of in terms of daily activities, um, especially in terms of spiritual programs like morning program, um, in terms of different preaching activities, those are pretty well the same. Um, but yes, the I would say that the cultural aspect um, comes more more easily or um, more fully, more deeply uh, when we live the lifestyle which is actually advocated in the Shastra, because the whole Vedic lifestyle, which again is you know very different, if not completely different from modern day lifestyle, um, brings about a different result. One is culture and one is not culture. I was going to say the different culture, but actually it's not culture. Yeah, there is. We were discussing a few days ago how the whole Vedic knowledge and practice is is giving us, presenting us, introducing us to our natural eternal culture, which is meant to be experienced in our daily activities, not only in temples. That's one cultural aspect, let's say, you know, because all over the world, devotees generally attend Mangalarti, chant Hare Krishna, have darshan of the deities. There's so many aspects in connection with the temple, but actually, majority of devotees don't live in the temple, not meant to live in the temple also. And majority of devotees, as advocated actually in the Shastra, are meant to live a much more simplified lifestyle. And that lifestyle is meant to be connected with nature. That lifestyle is meant to be an agrarian lifestyle, although it's amazing, some devotees contend that, don't agree with that the norm. So the point being that culture develops more easily the more we are in parallel with the Vedic culture. The Vedic culture is expressed not only in terms of philosophy, in terms of knowledge, uh, not only in terms of gyan, but vigyan. And this vigyan needs to take place both in terms of the spiritual level as well as the material level. and and both are interconnected. So, so I would say that uh, the point you're making is very valid, because uh, generally, majority of people in general, which means majority of devotees outside of India, have less or no contact with what we call Vedic culture. And the Vedic culture is meant to be understood and lived and experienced both spiritually and materially. Uh, and what has happened in the last 200 years approximately is that we have, due to simple ignorance, due to being disconnected with this Vedic knowledge, the whole world has actually swayed away from a more simple and natural way of living through industrialization and modern technology, etc. And therefore, we have not only, this is our sad state of affairs in the world today, not only we have become disconnected with our, spiritual nature, but we've also become disconnected with ordinary nature or material nature, in terms of how we are, um, how we are meant to live, just materially. I mean, there are people we know, um, not only here in India but in other countries, who have night jobs. I mean, in the Vedic culture, you don't have night job because there's no electricity. um, we have night jobs. We've created all kinds of, because of mechanization and industrialization. So we've created a whole artificial system, which, when we look at it a little bit closely, is extremely destructive. It's killing us. Uh, so the whole very important, you know, uh, point regarding culture, because we may have the knowledge, but we may be lacking. Very often that's the case. We are lacking in culture. Uh, so the way, okay, how? So the question is, okay, how to facilitate, how to uh, arrange so that, especially those who have been disconnected with the Vedic culture, which means, you know, a majority of people outside of India. Uh, so Prabhupada has given us the, the method and the process by which to reignite or reawaken this culture. Um, Again, it's like the whole. That's why if we fail to implement and to understand that fourth movement, which is Varnashram, then we are missing out on the culture, on the very essential dimension of the Vedic culture, which is actually, as Prabhupada and other acharyas have also pointed out, this whole dimension of the Vedic culture in terms of how we are meant to live, how we are meant to be educated, how we are meant to work, how we're meant to make a living, what is meant to be the standard in terms of economic development. So that brings us back to the four Vedic sciences, isn't it? Which are unknown in modern day society, and which are, again, unknown to most of our devotees. We're not following the Vedic system of education, either formal or non-formal, yeah. And we're not following the Vedic science of economics, which is connected with cows and land, isn't it? We we claim to be devotees, but we're not following the system. You know. So that's all connected with culture. So complete, in other words, yeah. In the Bhagavatam, I was mentioning, recalling how Prabhupada in one, um, I believe it's somewhere in the first canto, he makes a reference to Varnasrama as divine culture. So for us, um, and here, divine doesn't mean simply spiritual. Divine culture means where both the material dimension and the spiritual dimension are hand in hand, working hand in hand. And all of our activities, um, all of our even material activities, because they are done, performed, number one, for the pleasure of Krishna, number two, according to what is recommended in the Shastra. We may all say, well, you know, I'm doing my work and offering to Krishna, but is the work that you're doing the prescribed, yeah, prescribed by Krishna?
I think that there is a description of how Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas should maintain themselves. But we don't have a place for them to practice it. So when we get second initiation, we call becoming brahmanas, but we cannot practice our six
Yeah.
duties. Only maybe we can make yagyas or we can do deity worship, but that's not maintenance.
Limited. It's
Very
limited.
limited.
Yeah, very
And the
limited.
kshatriyas can do whatever they are supposed to do.
There's no land available.
So
You're right.
it's like there's no space, no
That's
interactions
yes.
where these two important part of the Vedic system.
You can include the Vaishyas in there also.
Practically.
Yeah, including the Vaishyas, of course.
Yeah,
Also.
Vaishyas maybe because Vaishyas can buy some land and they can start something, but also they cannot pay tax for pure kshatriyas. They have to pay tax for this demonical
Right.
leadership. So it's very difficult when there is no practical. That's why Prabhupada taught we have to establish villages,
Yeah, communities.
not just a farm.
Yes.
Village communities.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Rural communities we have to establish, and then we can start really
Correct.
practically.
Yes.
Otherwise, will not understand what is it being a brahmana.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Prabhupada gave us. He gave us everything, both in terms of the spiritual and the material solutions, and that is by creating Vrindavan villages ultimately. Make Vrindavan village because that's where the natural roles and responsibilities of individuals, take place, and therefore, as you also rightly mentioned, farms are like the beginning. We reconnect individuals with land, with cows, with nature, and that is meant to develop as it is described in the Shastra. Bhagavatam doesn't describe farms, it describes villages. So villages, as you rightly point out, are actually meant to be the norm, where people live, and they, in that environment, in that village environment, and there will be some cities here and there, but Vedic cities, then various individuals act out or live and follow their various natures within that system of. So until we have that, until we develop such communities, then we will struggle, with what does it actually mean, because we will not have the means by which we can actually understand and experience that, and all of that is very much connected with the aspect of culture, which you're mentioning also. So in other words, we are we are what is it? Deficient. We have some. We are lacking. We are lacking in that whole aspect. So what's the answer to the question?
Answer?
What's the answer to the question? I mean, the question, you asked the question about 10 minutes ago or so, and we've been talking and exchanging for the last 10 minutes. What is the essence?
Since we have instruction from Prabhupada, and this is the way where we can establish the Vedic culture.
So specifically that means, yes, everyone will agree we have to follow Prabhupada's instructions, but we have different ways
Ideas what that instruction is.
What is the essence, some of the essence of those?
Village life. Immersion. Culture is acquired through immersion.
Yes, totally absorbed
Yes.
in living what Vedic culture is showing.
another problem, like because of they don't have a culture, they cannot go to the village and like or create some like a land. For example, devotees are buying land. Uh, I've heard many times from different devotees. They're buying land. They want to start community.
Right.
They shifted from the city to the land
Yes,
because
yes.
they know what the city is, like Ugra Karma, this and that. But because of they don't have a culture, some qualities, they cannot live together in land. Then there's like clashes, and then they go out again to the city.
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. One has before one relocates, let's say, in a community or creates a community, one has to prepare oneself in so many ways.
Maybe instead of starting something from scratch, maybe the individual needs to go and live where this culture exists to whatever extent it exists.
Yeah,
Learn and acquire.
yes, um, definitely. You know, it's just like it has been established, like in the hippie days in America. Uh, it was common to start what they call communes, and some people have studied communes, and they have come to uh, realize that something like 95% of the communes failed. Yeah, because living together is not at all easy, and especially living as per the Vedic norm and culture, it's something that gradually has to evolve, and the devotees are actually the best candidates. I mean, they're in the best position to actually make that happen because they have knowledge, but they need to be properly using that knowledge so that they are sufficiently prepared um, before relocating in a village. And there are basically two ways. You know, either you become part of an existing community or village, or you prepare yourself if you're going to start from scratch. We started our community, like in Indonesia, from scratch. Uh, so there are different. These are the two main approaches. Either, of course, from scratch in the sense that there was nothing there, but at the same time they were practicing devotees, so that helped them uh, to a large extent to make that effort successful. So there's a lot of uh, preparation that is needed for actually, you know, we're talking about, and that's how it is described in the Shastra. Prabhupada makes reference in the purport also that this whole system is very scientific. So we have to learn the different aspects of that scientific system. And one of the most important aspects, which I think we all understand in terms of spiritual advancement and spiritual life, is the whole aspect of relationship, which is sambandha gyan. So sambandha gyan is the beginning, and it becomes extremely, it becomes vital, absolutely essential if you're going to have a group of people actually living together 24/7. And therefore people need to, which is the case, that's the majority of our devotees, are in cities, know very less about village life, etc. So therefore there's a whole preparation, and some of that, you know, as you mentioned, would mean to spend some time with maybe existing communities where they have some experience, some knowledge, and learn from that. So the different practical specific ways to go about doing it.
Well, you made an important point that there are two aspects, right? There's material dimension and spiritual dimensions. Both need to go hand in hand.
Yes,
So when you talk about Sambandh from a philosophical perspective, typically devotees tend to understand that Sambandh with Krishna, which is important. At the same time, Sambandh, a relationship with devotees, with nature, with ecosystem, with cow. So all those dimensions have to be
yes,
fully understood, and one has to be convinced
yes,
of one's existence in relationship to all these different dimensions.
yes,
Then that purification or inclination to revive that will
yes,
become prominent.
yeah, yeah.
I have a question that maybe we can understand something more. So I heard that Nanda Maharaj was considered as a Vaishya.
Vaishya,
Like, yeah,
yes,
like the mother was lower class of Nanda Maharaj than the Vasudev mother. They have relationship, but Vasudev was coming as of the birth as from the Kshatriya woman, Kshatriya husband and wife. But Nanda Maharaj was take birth from a Vaishya mother, as I heard. So they considered as Vaishyas, but still they were giving kind of leaders like a
Vaishya is a leader.
yeah,
You know, the three, all the dvijas. You know, the Brahmanas are leaders, Kshatriyas are leaders, Vaishyas are leaders because they're leaders. Why? Because they have dependents. Anyone who has dependents, I mean, father and mother are also leaders in the family. So, so it doesn't. Yeah, like here in India, um, I I've seen there are different like villages. You'll have a villages. I mean, Shantipur. Advaitacharya was living in Shantipur, which is a village of Brahmanas. Then there are, you know, you have Ghosh villages here.
Yes, Ghoshpada.
Yeah, there are Vaishya villages. Then you have Kshatriya villages. Then you have also Shudra villages.
Shabara.
And there will be a leader among Shudras also.
Yeah, right.
There's
Yeah,
a leader among a pack of dogs also.
I heard that in, uh, we have in India what is called the Panchayat.
Panchayat.
So I was reading some time back, Panchayat means that there's representative from different groups. One Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and then there's one more. I forget. Huh?
Outcast.
Right.
The Sarpanch on top of the fight.
Right. So everyone is represented. So yeah, normally when we think of leader, we think of like Kshatriya, king, but actually they are all leaders. So Nanda Maharaj was. And also we hear that wonderful description of when Nanda Maharaj called a special meeting when they were in Gokul,
Relocation.
that we have to move now. And then they all packed up on the bullock carts, everything. And some of the cowherd men were standing with bow and arrows. So one may think, well, what's a cowherd boy doing with a bow and arrow? But
They
yeah,
have to protect
right, right,
cows,
yeah,
something like this.
yeah. So there's,
Maybe they don't know there's very high type of martial art, but they are quite intelligent and powerful in
Right.
protecting their land.
correct, yeah.
And how Vajra, the grandson of Krishna, re-established these rural areas because they become empty. So how he brought new people there? He brought Vaishyas to instruct them to keep this land, and What really do you
One would
need?
have to look at the history. I don't know in detail, but
Because sometimes kings are doing that, that they bring people to an area which they want to develop.
yeah. Well, actually, if we read the Kautilya Arthashastra, there's all kinds of fascinating information that is there, how to create a village. And if a king has been, properly trained, he knows, because it's a whole science. He knows how to do that. He knows where to go, what are the criterias in selecting a place, and then what kind of people are best suited maybe for that particular area, etc. like that. So these guidelines are all given in the Shastra, but we don't read the Shastra, so we don't give so much attention to this whole aspect of, who within our society is being trained to, organize a village
Yeah,
or to make a village.
establish villages.
Yeah, but
In Germany there is a big farm, but it's impossible to develop a community or village there. It's impossible. In China and Slovakia also very difficult places where you want to, develop good agriculture, not just,
yeah.
survive.
Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, I have a different color today. Changing colors.